Hey everybody, I'm Paste Magazine TV editor Allison Keene here with our Power Rankings this week. It's the top 10 shows of the week as voted on by our Paste writers and TV editors. And as a programming note, we will be considering Disney Plus shows next week with one exception. So no Mandalorian this time. But we do have our number 10 pick, which is Bojack Horseman. It's interesting being in this age of binge watching because Bojack sort of came and went in our public consciousness. I never thought that I would feel nostalgic for the days of weekly release, but indeed I do, because we binge and then we purge it right out of our minds. But Bojack remains a really, really great series, so don't forget about it. It's still available on Netflix, and the second half of this final season will land in January. Number 9 this week is The Cry on Sundance TV, which is a channel that has been providing really, really great programming for a very long time, but always gets overlooked. So give it a chance. If you have a cable package, Sundance TV is probably part of it. It has backed off a little bit on some of its originals, but as far as its international acquisitions go, it's still knocking them out of the park. And The Cry is another one where a couple goes to Australia and they lose their baby. It mysteriously disappears. Did a dingo eat it? We don't know. But for now, it's very twisty, lots of turns, and only 4 episodes. So a pretty small commitment. And only 2 episodes have aired so far. So still plenty of time for you to catch up on that. Number 8 this week is Green Eggs and Ham on Netflix. Yes, you heard that correctly. There is a Green Eggs and Ham series. And according to our assistant TV editor, Amy Amatangelo, it, quote, is true to the spirit of the Dr. Seuss books while creating a series both kids and parents can enjoy. Michael Douglas is fantastic as the grumpy guy I am, and Adam Devine captures the enthusiasm of Sam I Am, who can be very persistent. But this is a really, really charming series that somehow they were managed to get 13 episodes out of. So if you're looking for some kid-friendly content on Netflix, that's one to go to. Speaking of the kids, number 7 this week is High School Musical, the musical, the series, which is on Disney Plus, but it got a pass this week because it did do a little bit of a preview on Freeform and ABC. So we included it. It is a very interesting series, very self-aware, very meta. You can read Alexis Gunderson's full review on pastemagazine.com. But yes, it's full of Disney vertical synergy, and it's very fun and woke and full of pop culture references. So if that sounds like fun to you, you can watch it now on Disney Plus. Number 6 this week is Castle Rock, which apparently had a really interesting twist at the end of this last episode. Our TV writer, Allison Shoemaker, said that we get an Annie Wilkes origin story in this episode. We see her struggling to learn to read. She has a learning disability. She has a very toxic relationship with her parents. But there's a great twist at the end that makes a good episode really, really great. So if you aren't caught up, Castle Rock on Hulu is still a really, really good choice for a horror-tinged psychological series. Which brings us to number 5, Evil on CBS. We've talked about this week in and week out as a series that continues to surprise us. It doesn't feel like a CBS series in the best of ways. It's really, really smart. It's really, really interesting, deep, complicated, and also quite scary at times, which I think is sort of surprising. But it continues to be surprising week by week. And if you haven't given this one a shot because you're like, well, it's on CBS, it's sort of procedural. No, it's something very different and very worth watching. Number 4 this week on our list is Dickinson. Now, last week on the TV Power Ranking, we grouped all of the Apple TV Plus shows together. This week, we're acknowledging that maybe not all of them deserve to be on the Power Ranking, but Dickinson absolutely does. It is a sort of a modern retelling of Emily Dickinson's story. It takes place in the past, but it uses modern music. She has scenes with Wiz Khalifa as this embodiment of death. There is twerking, there are teen parties. And if all this is really making you say, this does not sound like it's for me, it is for you. It's not just for the kids, I promise. It's really funny and weird, and I think captures something really special about Emily Dickinson's creativity and the imagination, and the fact that, honestly, teenagers don't change from all of millennia. They're pretty much the same all the time. But yes, not the series that Apple was using as a marquee, but certainly one that I think has impressed. And weirdly, Apple did choose to drop all of those episodes at once. So it is a binge watch and a very fun one at that. Number 3 this week is For All Mankind, also on Apple TV Plus. This series follows the alternate history of the American space program. Essentially, what if Russia had, or at that time the USSR, had reached the moon first? And that changes up everything for NASA and the American space program. It allows for a lot more diversity, a lot more interesting, almost sci-fi elements as America tries to catch up, essentially, to what the Russians were doing. And it comes from Ronald D. Moore and stars Joel Kinnaman. And this is really the flagship show for Apple TV Plus, and it's coming out on a weekly release, and just a really interesting consideration of an alternate history that is actually far more progressive than our own. So a very different and interesting take there. Number 2 this week is The Good Place, which faltered a little bit early in the season as far as the power rankings go. It didn't make an appearance until just recently, but apparently it is back to forking form. And this last episode was thrilling and hilarious, according to Amy Amatangelo. And it's certainly a favorite here in the Paste office and will likely remain on the power ranking for the rest of this final season. Number 1 this week is Back to Life from Showtime, which comes from writer, creator, and star Daisy Haggard. This is a sort of a Rectify meets Fleabag mix, which are very hefty names in the TV world to drop when talking about a new series. But it follows the story of a woman who has been in prison and goes back to her small British town and is really just kind of trying to start her life over again. It's very funny. It's very unexpected. And you don't find out at first what it is that she has done, what crime she committed, but eventually over time that's revealed, and it really never flashes back to her time in prison or anything like that, because it's really about her having another chance and hoping that people will allow her to, which for a small town is a difficult thing. But yeah, this is one that I think is really kind of flying under the radar. But Showtime has really picked up some great series recently, and this is certainly one to check out. I think it's only 6 episodes. They're half hours each, so a very easy watch, and only 1 episode has premiered so far. So plenty of time to catch up. And yeah, a truly great series from Daisy Haggard. And you can read my full review of that on pastemagazine.com. And that's it for us for the TV Power Rankings this week. Thank you so much for joining us here at our studio in downtown Atlanta. Next week, we'll be back with more picks of the best of the week. See you then.